Happy summer, everybody, and welcome to the 99th episode of EDH Commander Challenge. I'm your host, BT. Break out your barbecue, your lawn chair, your cold drinks, maybe jump in the pool, because it's summertime. Time to sit back and unwind. That's right, guys. Just earlier this week, we passed June 21st to officially start summer of 2019. What else is cool? Next week is our 100th episode, and I'm super excited, including some cool cosmetic changes that we couldn't have done without the support of our awesome patron pledge hammer. So thank you very much, guys. You'll be seeing that next week. Also, the debut of our first female playgroup member, my lovely girlfriend, Emma. Just can't wait to show you that. But that's next week. We're going to do it this week first. So we decided to give you a great matchup with two generals that are so powerful that after you're finished playing either one of them, they will definitely leave some tan marks on you. So without any further ado, let's go check out those scorching opening hands. First we have Mark playing his Boros-style Feather the Redeem deck. And his opening hand consists of Path to Exile, Sheltering Light, Recruiter of the Guard, Fell the Mighty, Inspiring Vantage, and 2 Plains. And speaking of debuts, my good buddy Dario makes his debut on our channel with his Temur-style Animar Soul of Elements deck. And his opening hand consists of Cavern of Souls, Command Tower, an Island, a Mountain, Green Sun Zenith, Hardened Scales, and Mana War. Mark won the dice roll, so he'll be starting us off. Let's go with summertime. Mark plays Inspiring Vantage and passes. Dario plays Command Tower and casts Green Sun Zenith for 0. This allows him to go grab Dryad Arbor and put it into play before passing. Mark plays a Plains and passes. Dario plays Cavern of Souls, calling elementals, and casts his general Animar Soul of Elements and passes. Mark plays a Plains and casts his general Feather the Redeemed and passes. Dario plays a forest and casts Hardened Scales, followed by Mana War, which he uses to bounce Feather back to Mark's hand. And thanks to his Hardened Scales, gets to place 2 +1/+1 counters on Animar. Dario then attacks Mark with Animar, dishing out 3 damage, and then passes. Mark plays a Plains and recasts Feather before passing. Dario plays an Island and casts Coiling Oracle. With his trigger, he reveals Sakura Tribe Elder, which goes to his hand, and he then casts it, which in total places 4 +1/+1 counters on Animar. Then he casts Endless One for 6, straight abusing Animar's cost-cutting ability, placing another 2 +1/+1 counters on Animar himself. Then he moves into combat and attacks Mark with Animar, which Mark can't block because the thing has Pearl White, and takes massive damage before Dario passes. Mark plays a Plains and casts Fell the Mighty, targeting his Feather, killing everything with power higher than 3. This causes Animar and Endless One to bite the bullet. Then he passes, returning the card back to his hand with Feather's effect. Dario sacrifices his elder to grab a mountain and put it into play. Dario recasts Animar, then puts Breeding Pool into play tapped, before passing. Mark casts Recruiter of the Guard, and uses it to add Young Pyromancer to his hand, and passes. Dario plays a mountain, and casts Stunt Double, becoming a copy of Mark's Recruiter, allowing him to add Draining Welk from his deck to his hand, and plays 2 +1/+1 counters on Animar. Then he attacks Mark with Animar for 3, placing Mark close to lethal commander damage before passing. Mark casts Young Pyromancer and passes. Dario moves right into combat for his turn and attacks Mark with Animar. Mark blocks with his Pyromancer and casts Sheltering Light, targeting it and giving it indestructible while also being able to scry. He also makes a 1/1 red elemental token thanks to his Pyromancer's trigger. Then Dario passes. During the end step, Mark casts Path to Exile on his token he just got to get another one off Pyromancer's ability and go get a mountain from his deck into play tapped. Then he returns his instance to his hand thanks to his awesome Feathers effect. For Mark's turn, he casts Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice. But Dario counters it with his Draining Welk, which gets 5 counters thanks to Hardened Scales, and also puts 2 counters on Animar. Then Mark passes. Dario moves into combat again for his turn and attacks with Animar and the Welk. Mark blocks Animar with an elemental token, and he blocks the Welk with Feather. He casts Sheltering Light again, this time on Feather, gaining another elemental token, and resolves the Scry. In his second main phase, Dario casts Forgotten Ancient, placing 2 more counters on Animar, and passes. During the end step again, Mark casts Path to Exile on his token, going to get some more basic lands into play, replaces the token with Pyromancer's effect, and returns his instance to his hand during the end step via Feather's effect. Mark casts Chromatic Lantern, which gives Forgotten Ancient 2 +1/+1 counters. Then he passes. During his upkeep, Dario moves his counters from his Ancient to his Welk, which becomes 3 counters thanks to how Hardened Scales works. Then he plays a Forest and moves to attack Mark with his stunt doubled Recruiter. Mark blocks with his own Recruiter and casts Acrobatic Maneuver on his Recruiter to blink it and draw a card after blocks are declared. Mark's Recruiter's End of the Battlefield trigger happens, and with it, he adds Weathered Wayfarer to his hand, and also makes another elemental token thanks to his Pyromancer. He also casts Sheltering Light again on Feather to make another token and to scry once more. And Dario, worried about the Fell of the Mighty lurking in Mark's hand, chooses not to gain any more counters on his Ancient when these spells all resolve. He instead passes to Mark, and Mark returns his instance back to his hand. Mark plays a mountain and casts Weathered Wayfarer, followed by Fell the Mighty again. He targets his Feather. This kills everything with higher than 3 power. Dario chooses to gain 2+ counters thanks to his scales on his Ancient. Then Animar and his Draining Whelk are destroyed. Mark gains another Elemental token and passes, adding his Fell the Mighty back to his hand. Dario casts Regrowth and adds his Draining Whelk back to his hand, then recasts Animar before passing. For Mark's turn, as he controls less lands than Dario, he uses Weathered Wayfarer's effect to add Reliquary Tower from his deck to his hand. He then plays the Reliquary Tower as his land for the turn. Then he casts Path to Exile on his token again, gain another token in the process, and getting another basic from his deck into play tapped. This allows Dario to add 2 more counters onto his Ancient before Mark passes the turn. During his upkeep, Dario moves all of his counters from his Ancient onto Animar, which turns into 5 counters thanks to the Hardened Scales. Then he plays an island and casts Green Sun Zenith, where X is 8, and grabs one of the deadliest green creatures in Magic, Crater Hoof Behemoth, into play. This gives all of his creatures +7/+7 in Trample, and places 2 more plus counters on his Ancient. Dario then waves with all of his creatures, but Mark stops him cold with Dawn Charm, looking to lock down the game. But Dario drops his finishing move by recasting the Whelk he took back earlier, countering the Dawn Charm. Count the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Here are your winners, Dario and Animar. In tonight's matchup, for Mark, Fell the Mighty was just busted. A constant form of insurance that nothing stronger than Feather would be in play for long was just too good. For Dario, his saving grace had to be the Draining Whelk. While Dario started strong, Mark quickly began to take over the game. And when Dario laid his final plan down to go for the kill with the help of Craterhoof, all would have been for naught if not for this card. Do you agree with our picks? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, if you enjoy our content, consider becoming a patron to gain access to some awesome sweet bonuses while helping out the channel at the same time. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you're a fan of EDH gameplay and you like whether it be 1v1 or multiplayer and you want to be part of the ever-growing Commander Challenge family, just make sure you smash the subscribe button and notification bell down below. We do weekly videos. Don't forget as well to like, comment, share our videos, but most importantly, enjoy them. On behalf of all of our members here, I'm your host, BT. Feel free to check out all of the videos in the channel. Join our game. It's now your turn. Cheers!